Getting it real with RealChunWai on the hottest topics, frank, engaging and candid. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. The increasing cost of living has hit Malaysians, as with most people worldwide. Yet inflation in Malaysia is one of the lowest in the world, but it can get harder for us in the coming months. What can we expect? Joining us tonight is Dato' Ameer Ali Mydin, the Managing Director of Mydin Muhammad Holdings Berhad. Please welcome Dato' Ameer. Malaysia and followers from around the world, welcome back to the RealChunWai show. And our guest for tonight is in hot demand, is none other than Dato' Ameer Ali Mydin, the boss of Malaysia's largest homegrown hypermarket and retail chain. Welcome on board, sir.
Thank you for having me again, Dr. Sri.
Right. Okay, Dato', most important question. The hottest topic now is, of course, the increasing cost of living, and that we have placed an export ban on chickens to Singapore. Meanwhile, as we grapple with the increasing cost of living, we have proposed a ban of eggs to Singapore. Now, tell us, how bad is this situation pertaining to eggs, and why did you make that the proposal and the call to ban eggs to be exported to Singapore, and what's the rationale behind it?
Basically, I think we know that the government has agreed to increase the ceiling price from 890 to 940, right? And we also know, although it has not been officially announced, the government is actually giving a subsidy about $1.10 or $1.20 to the chicken breeders. So with the 120 and increase of price of 50 cents, you get a 170 differential, so-called in costing. Yeah. So our understanding from the market is that the chicken breeders are not very, very happy. Sure. Consumers not very, very happy. So I use Tun M's comment, when both parties not happy, then I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. So basically, I think we will not have a shortage of chicken in the next maybe 25, 30 or 42 days time. Okay. Obviously, you give a subsidy, you can't have chicken tomorrow lah, you know. Sure. So I think sometime when our politicians make statement, they should make the right statement, so that expectation from the rakyat, you have to manage expectation. You can't say I give you subsidy today, tomorrow ada ayam. Tak ada lah, you know, 42 days. But the issue here is that, why is there a massive shortage of eggs? The supply of eggs is only 40%. Okay. 40%. And remember, eggs is also the cheapest source of protein. And Malaysians love eggs. You know, because anything we do, instant noodle also masuk telur. Pagi makan telur. Roti canai roti telur. But because that is the cheapest source of egg, right? There's a shortage. And my understanding is that when you talk off record lah, you know, basically eggs are being exported to Singapore and to Hong Kong. Singapore and Hong Kong, is it? So when the government must always take care of its own rakyat first. Very important. I mean, India does a very good job. Seriously. If there's not enough things for the rakyat, last time they banned onion. I think everybody knows about it. Recently, they banned even wheat. India is the second largest exporter of wheat. They banned it. Banned and said will only supply to certain countries who really need the wheat and not play the market and let people hoard wheat. So I think we'll have to do those kind of things for now, because I mean, the rakyat must be taken care of.
Correct. Yeah. So Dato', generally at your stores at Mydin, are you getting your supplies of eggs as regular, or it is less now?
No, it is only 40%.
Okay.
So if you walk in the morning, sometimes you get the eggs. By the time it's the afternoon, you will not get. But what I'm trying to tell you is that no eggs mean which type of eggs. The rakyat eggs lah. The grade A, grade B, grade C. You want the special egg, you know lah, all those 10 pieces, you know, you pay a bomb for it, you know. organic eggs.
For me,
Of course, that's available, but our B40 and our so-called M40, who are now B40s, cannot afford this.
Yeah. Yes, I see. Okay, now, what are the other critical areas when we talk about shortage? Those subsidized cooking oil, I think those are 1 kg. Are they flying off the shelves, or are they readily, or the supplies are there?
To say flying off the shelf, you must have the goods on the shelf first.
Yes.
Then only they can fly, right?
Yeah.
There is not enough subsidized oil. I mean, I hear yesterday enforcement saying that because of the extra subsidy of 1.8 billion, within a week, the oil will be available in the market. I don't want to go against our enforcement. Probably they know better. But remember, I've been around for 40 years in this business. No doubt, he is not wrong. He's not wrong. The government has given the subsidy. The cooking oil of 1 packet will go out from the packers. The issue is, where will it go? Will it go to supermarket, our kedai-kedai runcit for the benefit of the rakyat, or it will increase so-called the leakages and go to our neighboring countries, obviously to Thailand, Indonesia, and I think it was reported in the Star paper recently, right? Putting in the kettle and going to Nigeria. My goodness, the logistic cost of going to Nigeria is so far away, but the price differential is so high. Between 250 to actual should be 9 ringgit, that you can afford that expensive, very high logistic cost. So this subsidy of cooking oil, I've said this again. I know it's not a very unpopular way of putting it. People get angry when I say this. I get all sort of comments. But my humble opinion is, please remove the so-called 1 kilo subsidy of oil. The government will save $4 billion. Government is now giving 8 million
subsidy.
8 million people so-called Bantuan Rakyat. 4 billion comes to 500 ringgit per person per year. I think the Rakyat, the 8 million people whom they are getting the Bantuan Rakyat, we understand they are B40s, they will be getting 500 ringgit extra per year. They can buy all the oil at even 10 ringgit per kilo. So this is what they call targeted subsidy. Targeted subsidy meaning you give money and let them decide. Let them decide. This is not the way to do it, because I am nothing against subsidy in the sense of the word, but you distort the economy and you're subsidizing the Thais and Indonesian. I mean, you want to help the world, help but this is not the way to help the world.
Yes, these are the leakages of our subsidy plans. The result is that people who are not Malaysians, I mean, they can call it xenophobic or whatever, but that's reality. People who should not be enjoying it are enjoying it. And you and I know that it's been so widely reported that subsidized diesels are out in the middle of the sea. Somebody from Thailand will be buying it and using it. It's widely reported. But again, I agree with you, Datuk, that expectations of the public is necessary. It is troublesome when politicians or ministers or officials keep on saying that, look, everything's all right, tak ada masalah pun, or they expect after an announcement that they expect and they actually believe that things will start appearing the next day, which is not possible. As you said, that it will take some time for products to be distributed or to reach the hypermarkets. So these expectations sometimes are not realistic or not properly explained. That comes to the point, actually, that I want to talk about is that besides those subsidy stuff, the question of fertilizers have jumped. I've spoken to durian farmers. They said, my God, the price of fertilizers have gone several rounds. And that what about the price of vegetables and fruits in hypermarkets? Those are not controlled, but what is the situation for vegetables and fruits?
Let me put it this way. Seriously, vegetable prices have not gone up.
Okay.
They have not gone up, So I think sometimes people tend to, say barang mahal, and once they say the price of tomato has gone up a bit, but every time price of tomato goes up and down, right? So prices of so-called vegetable, and let me give you some numbers. See, of course, if you go back to 2019, July 2019, exactly 1 year before, cauliflower was $4.99. Then it went up to $6.50. in April. But remember, April, May, Hari Raya, normally prices do go up, right? But now it's gone to 639. Cabbage, yeah. You know that the government have removed AP, right?
Yeah.
So people who are getting the extra 20 cents not making anymore, but now everybody imports cabbage. So prices of cabbage in April was 369. Now it's only 299. So prices of cabbage have actually come down, but nobody talks about it. And I think even the government should put it out there so that the Rakyat understand that certain prices have gone down. Tomatoes, they were 599, it went up 669 for during the Raya period. It's gone to 599 again, you know, and it had gone up to 8 ringgit during rain, you know, I mean, Cameron raining and all that. And now sometimes excess tomato, it does go to 299. Brinjal, 599 1 year ago, but from April 1299, it's gone to 799. So prices are actually going down. Prices are going down. Red chili, hot topic, used to be 1999 last year. 1599, now it's only 1299. So it's gone down. Oh, ginger.
You talk about cabbages. Have these prices gone down because it's been mitigated by the imports of cabbages from China, and I can see that the prices are pretty low. Is this helping?
Because now no AP, right? I mean, the one good thing, and hats off to our Prime Minister, you know, removing the AP. Now everybody can import. You also can import. Though I must have the jalan to import, is it? Now you import. So of course you import, competition, although the logistic cost is double, right?
Yeah.
But it's cheap. Prices have gone down. Kangkong, about the same price, $2.49. Bayam, about 250, about the same. Sawi is about 250, about the same. So these items have not really gone up. And you mentioned fruits, fruit. Good to eat fruits. I mean, healthy. I mean, pisang mas has gone up slightly from 3 ringgit, 350 to 380. Watermelon, 299, 359, and 289. Of course, Hari Raya, you know, lost leader, we said 99 cents, $1.10 line, you know, but that is lost leader actually, you know. The actual price is about 289. Guava, about the same price, 859, 899. Pineapple has gone up slightly, 189 per piece to 259. Papaya, 329 a year ago, went up 399, it's back to 329.
I see. Okay.
So, I mean, and even if prices have gone up, undoubtedly slightly, there is slight shortages in the market. That is because there's no labor.
I see.
And you know, in Perak, we have labor shortages. In Johor, obviously labor shortages. So the government can do something about getting, you know, the foreign labor. Another very hot topic. Everybody very frustrated. Government keep talking about it. I hear some have started to come, but they're not coming fast enough. And I mean, you get the labor, then prices can go down.
Correct.
This is what the government can do to bring prices down.
Good point. Very good point.
I mean, what the government can't control. I mean, obviously the Ukraine war, you know, global logistic, international cost, all that. That's nothing much the government can do. But labor, the government can do something about it.
Yes.
Waiting and waiting. That's the street.
A lot of talking, a lot of signing, but if you're not seen any
coming next week.
Nothing. Yeah. So because that will bring down the cost of production, and of course that a lot of things can be harvested, or else it's just left rotting. Now, Dato, you know that this is the point that you have. I think you have brought it up in some discussions on TV, where you have said that in this particular case, the cost of living, looming inflation, the war in Ukraine, and the post-COVID logistic and productivity issue, this has of course been one of the few reasons why that we have this situation now, the cost of living. It is something that I think when I look back at what we were discussing, actually 1 year ago, you were already talking about it. And we have been talking about this issue. Now, of course, people begins to feel it because it's eating into their pocket. Then we have politicians who says that, Barisan Nasional, the Bara Naik, return of subsidy, don't take away subsidy. But the reality is that the country is spending 80 billion on subsidy. It's really high, 80 billion. It's probably the highest in the history of Malaysia. Our concern here is that, and economists have been talking about it, can we manage this continuing subsidy situation? Malaysia is one of the most subsidized nations on earth. can we afford it now? Previously it was not too bad, but now, can we really afford it? How long can we continue to keep this bill going? Your views?
I mean, let me first get this pricing right. Seriously, I think you better sit on your chair. Let me give you some prices. Hold that chair that you're having. Prices for groceries have really gone up. Seriously gone up. It's not your 5.6% or 2.3% inflation. And let me tell you some number. Flour, we know wheat, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
$2.25 to $3.80. So definitely roti canai $1.50, it had to go to $2.
Yeah.
It had to go. Creamer used to be $2.20. Now it's $3. Creamer had gone to $2.90. $2.20 to $2.90. Obviously, teh tarik has gone up by 50 cents.
Sure.
I was at my popular, I don't want to mention the name, but the teh tarik was $3.50 today. It used to be $2.50 something in that particular place, So it's gone up massively and you can't blame them. All right.
Yeah.
Chili sauce, $3.95 a year ago to $5.25.
Wow. That's very high, man.
Very high. Sardine from $7.90 to $8.95. I mean, when you can't afford to buy things, you buy sardine, right?
Yeah.
That high. Coconut, santan. From
for curry.
230, we love santan, not good for health, but everything needs santan for us, from the chendol to our curry.
Yeah.
From 220 to 30, now it's about 295. Okay, but fish has not gone up. Okay. So these groceries have actually gone up to about more than 15 to 20%. And in July, seriously, and August, we're going to have another price increase from between 5 to 10%. So seriously, we have a problem.
Yes.
Inflation, reported inflation, and real inflation, where people, the higher part of the money goes to food.
Yes.
For some of us, maybe it's only 10, 15%, you can say, okay, never mind. But for the B40 and the current M40, which have become B40, 60, 70% goes to food. So this 20, 25%, imagine our household income for the Bantuan is $4 billion. 4,000, right? You have a 20, 25% price increase. So now the government has to change those numbers. They have to make Bantuan Rakyat to the 6,000. Baru betul, because that has happened. And tomorrow when prices go down, but as you know, young man, prices once up, never go down. That's the reality. True. But if some prices are being adjusted, then you go down. But to answer your question seriously, we cannot have this subsidy. You distort the economy. 80 billion of subsidy, if you give it direct to 8 billion people, each one will get 833 ringgit per month. Per month. That much, So if the government removes all subsidy and users say only 40 billion, half of it, each fella, that 8 million fellas will get 400 ringgit. That's more than enough for them. But, even, Yang Mulia Zaifro said that how many? 13 billion of petroleum subsidy goes to T20. Do something about it lah, Yang Mulia. We never asked for the subsidy, But you cannot start giving petrol cards. Those things don't work. People will abuse the subsidy. So the best thing, the most unpopular decision as always is, you can't remove it tomorrow, but start removing it slowly.
Places.
And start increasing the so-called direct Bantuan Rakyat for now. And slowly take that out also, because seriously, that level, people are suffering. But you go to our shopping centers, it's packed, Our restaurants are packed. You go to F&B, it's packed. So there is that level of people, maybe the T20 or some M40 that are up there are having enough money to spend. Most are packed. Yesterday, Mid Valley was jammed, So, there are people with money. We shouldn't be subsidizing them. So targeted subsidy and, giving direct Bantuan Rakyat to the so-called, I seriously think that the number 4,000 needs to go to 6,000. That is the main thing. and then
But
give it to them. Give it to
yeah,
them.
I think that makes sense. You go to the targeted groups that deserves the subsidy rather than they have a general. But with an election looming and the lack of political will, obviously the government, not just the government in Malaysia, but government elsewhere are always afraid of any kind of price increases because they are targeted. And even if it means eating into our revenue, that's something we are afraid of. For example, okay, in Malaysia, we are probably one of the few countries in the world where we are paying subsidy for sugar. Okay, it's been there since 2009, and then we have one of the highest, probably the highest diabetic problem in Asia. That's a fact, and yet we are subsidizing sugar. What is your view on this?
Okay.
What are the other areas that you think we should also take away some of the subsidy?
Don't sound like a politician. Stop taking sugar. Okay, you beginning to sound that the pengarah that they saying that prices of eggs reduce eating eggs. Now don't do that. Number one, let me just correct you. There's no subsidy for sugar.
Right? But it's been has it been done already?
There's no sugar. Sugar used to have subsidy long time ago.
2009.
2009. Okay, there used to be subsidy. Subsidy for sugar had been removed. All right, it had gone to market because sugar prices internationally went down. Went down, so the subsidy was removed. But now sugar prices have been going up. The sugar manufacturers, I mean, there are only two of them, have been asking the government to give either increase the price of sugar, right, or give them the subsidy. But to me, tak payah subsidy lah. We got enough subsidy, all right? But the main thing here to do is that, I wouldn't say take less sugar lah, do this, that, because you know what? Let people make their own decision. You want to take your sugar, you want to become diabetic, well, that helps the medical fraternity to make more money maybe. But I mean, let's not decide on all those kind of things. I mean, to me, let people live how they want to live. We already have sugar tax in terms of, I mean, the so-called carbonated drink, there was certain taxes and all that. It's okay, let it go. But the main thing here is that no more subsidies, please. If our Prime Minister is brave enough, I understand, of course, he removes the subsidy, he will lose the election. But he'll be remembered as the Prime Minister who removed the subsidy for the future of the country. You want to be remembered that way. I rather lose the election, but be remembered that I put my country on the right path. But which politicians want to lose the election?
Dato', they won't be listening to you for sure. Okay, Dato', you know that the first meetings of the cabinet ministers on jihad inflation. So some of the first sound bites they were talking about would be that look, we should not have this middleman, some distributors, excessive profits. Obviously, as businessmen, you need to make profit. That's why you're the businessman, and there are operation costs and head costs you have to handle. Obviously, you must make profit, and I do not know what does it mean by excessive profits. And then, of course, there are distributors who need to push the products out. Do you agree with this kind of statement, which seems quite generalized to me? There were no backing of any facts and figures. The merely says that the middleman is an issue. What is your view on this?
No, I think we should look at numbers.
Yeah.
We should look at numbers. Which hypermarket is making billions of dollars? The banks are making billions of dollars. Property developers are making billions of dollars. IT companies are making billions of dollars. Telecoms are making billions of dollars. We don't hear of supermarkets, kedai runcit making millions of billions, hardly making millions of dollars, right? So why are we putting the blame at the wrong place? Our TNB is making billions of dollars. Tariffs, but we are not. I mean, no doubt, I think there is some, and even the Prime Minister has acknowledged, there's some cartels in the chicken industry. So go after them. But let's not put this rush all over and say these middlemen are making money. We are just trying to survive. I think everybody out there is trying to survive. So let them try to survive, because we make money, we pay taxes. We are not making excessive profit. And seriously, palm oil people are making billions of dollars. But I don't hear any supermarket, hypermarket, kedai runcit, multinational chain stores reporting huge profit. Even the so-called main distributors, I don't want to mention names because it's public, but they are not making millions of dollars. They're making money undoubtedly, and that is, of course, everybody is here to make some money, and maybe they sacrifice some margin because all over they're trying to survive. But nobody is going to be able to recover the billions that we have lost during the last 2 years. Nobody. So I think it's very unfounded to blame the so-called traders. And remember, you need middlemen. You need middlemen.
Obviously.
These are not brokers, They're logistic. They are supply chain provider. You see, each one is an expert on their own. We are traders. I don't do logistics. I do what I know. I buy $1, I sell $1.10. The manufacturers know how to manufacture. That's why even the multinational, they manufacture. They don't do logistics. They say that is not my cup of tea. So that when you have separate like that, each one becomes an expert, and they do it at the lowest cost because there's competition in Malaysia. I think that's the way to do it. You always need middlemen. You always need. You cannot go to the farm. I mean, the logistic will kill you. And the tomato guys want to sell tomato, and timun fella wants to sell timun. Right? And each one cannot be sending tomatoes and timun to Mydin hypermarket because we don't buy one whole trailer of tomatoes. We buy a combination of tomatoes, timun. So that is how it works. Don't blame lah. We not handling money lah.
Yeah, I thought that generally most businessmen felt that blaming the middleman or so-called middleman was quite they like picking them as the boogeyman, and there was no rationale to no solid substantial arguments to what they have said.
But I think what the government has not done has explained. I mean, communication from the government has always been bad. Unfortunately. And communication, even the businesses, we all know in our businesses, sometimes we also don't communicate down to our staff. That's why the places all things don't work, So you see, for example, people have been calling me, what's the problem with the government? Why remove subsidy for cooking oil? We export palm oil. Why should we remove the subsidy? I mean, we cannot be doing this. You export, prices have gone up, you get the money, revenue for the company and revenue for the government. And the government takes that money and decides for development. Should it go for education? Should it go for health? Should it go for the V40s? If you take the whole money that you get from so-called palm oil, palm oil export, and all the money from Petronas for that matter, just because prices of crude oil has gone up, and start subsidizing people, the government will have no money. Well, we are already in debt. Imagine if the government had $80 billion, man, you'll be like Singapore, our reserve will double up.
Yeah. Again, as you say that it's not been properly communicated down, people are asking that the government is selling a lot of oil. The prices of oil has gone up. Why is it that we're in this situation? It's been said many times actually that it's a left hand and right hand going on to pay the subsidy. But as you said, communications have not properly been pushed down. Sometimes you have to say it again and again because people do not bother to read about this until it hits their pocket. Come to this question. When I read the financials of our country at a larger level, our international reserves have dropped. Okay, but most economists believe that it's still manageable. But what Malaysia can do is to increase its revenue. Do you think that GST would help to have a better way of collecting taxes? In this country, only a small percentage, 15% of the population is paying direct individual income tax. Okay, do you think that GST would help?
All of us in businesses have been proponent of GST. Because you that is tax on consumption. The more you spend, the more you pay. This is the most fairest tax. Even when we had the GST, the government messed it up. Exemption for flour, exemption for fish, exemption for the so many exemptions that all of us in the business got headache. Chili kering ada, belacan sudah tak ada. It's so difficult. My humble suggestion is bring it back. But the same thing lah. Whether the government has the political will, or we want to wait until we become another Sri Lanka, and then we decide to do something. I mean, we can see things very clearly. Seriously, I think we up here we can see things. We know something has to be done. You can never please the Raya. You cannot please everybody. And seriously, down there, many people might not even know there's a Ukraine war going on. Many people might not even know what is the increase in logistic cost out there. So it's very difficult. And sometimes we have to make that hard decision. So I'm not chasing for elections tomorrow, but basically we want a government who can make hard decision. Hard decision. Let's elect the right people who will make the right decision. The last time we had an opportunity, but obviously we know people also messed it up. We all are so sad nowadays. And now we are back to square one, and I think we're going to go worse off.
Possibility might be back to square one again after the election.
I won't be surprised. Our so-called anti-hopping laws seem to be stuck somewhere. So obviously the politicians themselves don't want to do this, and and I think the Rakyat have lost this confidence with our so-called politicians. It's a pity.
As you said that the GST obviously is the best net, wider cast of net to collect a consumption tax. If you spend, you pay. If you don't, that's it. And then of course we mess it up. We introduced GST, and we became the first country in the world to also close it down after that, which put us in an unusual situation. But of course, the 6% was quite unpalatable to most people. In Singapore, it was 3%. And now the Prime Minister gave a hint, and then the reaction was so strong, he turned around and said that, we were just talking about it, we're not going to implement it. So obviously, again, as you said, that there's a lack of a strong government or a strong, firm decision, unpopular as it may be, but it is necessary. But at this point, with an election looming, nobody wants to talk about it. Now, you spoke earlier just now that you gave a focus that the next few months would be tougher in terms of price. So why did you say that to talk about the coming months?
So basically, until and unless the Ukraine war, so-called Ukraine war, we call it Russia, whatever, comes to an end, we are not here. I think for us, we don't care who wins, who loses.
Sure.
But war in anything is wrong. That is, of course, everybody agrees. And I'm not going to get into who is right, who is wrong. We don't want to get interfered into all this. But at the end of the day, billions are suffering for some unreal reasons. It doesn't make sense. And billions are suffering. But it also tells us that how dependent we are on Ukraine and Russia. Seriously, even me personally, being in the food business, had no idea that the world, not Malaysia, the world is so dependent on Ukraine and Russia. Seriously, So I think this war has to end. Has to end, and all of us must really pray for that. And with that, only the so-called the prices might go down. We can go back to normalcy. But obviously, we all know that we're never going to go back to 2019. We're never going to go back because I think the so-called America versus China versus Russia is not going to end. There's another, I think, Cold War coming up. But Malaysia can benefit. We are a very trade-oriented country. We are good at what we do. We are a very neutral country. We are multiracial. We have the talent. I think we always put ourselves down, seriously. If we can just sort out our political challenge, seriously, this is a good country. And I'm telling you, we are God-given, whichever way it goes, we can make it, Prices of commodity goes up, we have the commodities, price of IT goes up, we have all our export chips and everything. You see. Somehow we're just lucky, you know. No
Very
snow
blessed.
here. Yeah, we are blessed. It's a blessed country, you know. Whichever you go, somehow or another, we are okay, you know. So let's take care of our country. You know? I mean, we must take care of this. And no one wants another Sri Lanka, obviously. And I tell you, people sometimes say, what happened to Malaysia? It can happen to Malaysia if we don't sort out the political challenges. I mean, prices are going up undoubtedly, but people are demonstrating. And are you sure they are really demonstrating knowing what is happening, or they are being paid to demonstrate, or somebody is fingering things up? I mean, even the opposition is saying, give subsidy. And the next day they say, government borrowing too much money, government in deficit, you don't know how to run your country. Come on, you know, I mean, let's be practical here. You know, when you are wrong, you know, if there is water shortage, blame the government. I agree with you. You got a power failure tomorrow, blame them. Blame them because they're not sorting things out. But price increases, global challenges. You know what the government should be blamed for? Just tell me why shipping costs from KL to Kuching, KL to Sabah is more than logistic cost from China to Port Klang. That logic. It costs $2,200 to ship a container from Port Klang to Kuching, to Sabah. It costs 1,700 from China to Malaysia. That is within our control. The minister, our minister, your favorite, your good friend, should do something about it. This is where we can reduce costs for our rakyat. Sabah, Sarawak are also Malaysians. Why are they suffering that price differential? Because of these so-called policies that making shipping too expensive. It doesn't make sense. Cooking oil is more expensive there, you know. Much more. Everything is much more expensive there.
So Dato, that the reality to sum it up all is that the cost of living has no doubt has gone up, but I think that the country has done pretty well by still keeping inflation around 2.2 to 2.3%. Okay, of course.
You know it's not 2.25%.
Of course, I'm going to add that
come on,
it is always questionable. Okay, but in UK. It's now 9%. They will go up to 11%. I just came back from UK 3 weeks ago. Everything is expensive. Nothing is subsidized, unlike Malaysia. As I say, that it remains a fact that it's one of the most subsidized countries in the world, but at the expense of our reserves. If you keep on subsidizing, and as you say that if it's not targeted subsidy, it will be just distorted, and all the money will just flow away. On that score, thank you, Dato, for giving your views and educating us on what is subsidized or what is not subsidized, and that what's the real situation at the supermarkets, including yours, what the prices that has been increasing and how Malaysians have got to live with it, and that it's not going to be easy if the world doesn't end, and if our politicians do not get it right, we will have a much more difficult situation. And with a looming election, there will always be politicians who exploit the situation and say, look, things are not subsidized when it is subsidized. So that's the reality. As Dato says that we must be fair and give credit when it's due. If it's not, we will criticize it. Thank you, Dato, for spending time with us. We hope to keep the things going well, and all the best. Please do join me and Dato Ameer. Catch us, follow us, join us, and subscribe us on our social media. Thank you so much. Good night, sir.
Thank you, Dato Sri.